Okay. So place the saucepan over low heat, stirring 2 to 3 minutes. Oh, so what she did say is that so normally when you make milk bread, like once it starts gelatinizing and it just kind of comes together and becomes this like loopy paste, like that's enough. But for these cookies, you need to get it to the point that it has the consistency of mashed potatoes, which I think the residual heat will get me there. So I'm going to turn it off so I don't actually burn it. So you got to overcook it a little further. So like if you're making tangzong, this like smooth goopy mixture is exactly where you want to be. But you need to cook it a little further when you're doing these cookies. Exactly what I'm going to do here. Try to give it a little more heat. And then again with this recipe, she was talking about adding it in hot to melt the sugar. So we'll do that. So normally when you make the bread recipe, because you don't want to further gelatinize other flour, um, you actually let it cool. You want to get it back down cool before you use it, so you don't actually end up making more roux than less. Okay, so it's starting to stick to the bottom, which is getting close to where I need it to be. So we're just gonna okay. So I think we're good there. Let's boot this to this side. So you guys, chat if you want to see this is where I'm at. Okay. Let's grab a rubber spatula and pull this stuff out. Okay. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna move that hot thing out of the way. And supposedly, it's gonna be lumpy initially, but then if you mix it enough with the heat of this tangzong, so one thing that this recipe says is use a whisk, which I do not recommend using, by the way, because I saw when Tox was doing it, it literally stuck inside his whisk, and he was having problems incorporating everything together. I also said I'd use the stand mixer, but I think I might do this all by hand, actually. Some lumps of tangzong mixture is okay. Okay, good to know. But I'm going to try to do my best to incorporate the tangzong in as much as I can. I also think after this, I think when I add the vanilla is when I'll also add the espresso powder into the mix. Just changing hands so that I don't fuck up my wrists. Okay. That seems pretty smooth to me. Okay. Oh, 4th of July is 21st anniversary. You should call it. Okay. You've never heard it. Oh, Andrew Cooks! Hello! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the raid. What'd you guys make? Hello. Let me switch over. Oh man, I guess I'm streaming so late that you guys are grading me for dinner after dinner preps. Hey Andrew, hope you're doing well. Hello, welcome in everybody. Let me give Andrew a quick shout out. How was I'm assuming you guys are doing meal prep today, right? Hi, I'm Walter Mellon. For those, I should do my quick intro. I'm Walter Mellon. I'm a food and drink streamer, just like Andrew. I am not a professional chef. I've been cooking since I was 12, though, and I've been baking a lot. Since actually, I guess I've been baking since I was 12, and I've been cooking. I don't know why I started cooking, but around the same time too. But I just really enjoy nerding out and chatting on stream. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. And for those who are here in my chat, you also check out Andrew. Andrew and Stu are very chill, very fantastic streamers. They too love nerding out too. For those, I had an hour long before I even started cooking. I just went on this long ass 1 hour rant about cameras and electricity and all this other crap and filmmaking. Yeah, they also have an adorable dog named Buster, and they do a lot of. I think during the weeks they do a lot of meal prep, and then on the weekends they do something slightly more complicated. And then once in a while, Andrew and Stu will both do bike riding streams in the summer during the weekends, which is pretty dope. So yeah, you guys should check them out. They're but yeah, thank you for coming by. What did you guys make today? You made fish and chips. Ooh, hell yeah, fish and chips. That sounds amazing. Was that part of did they send you all the stuff for the fish and chips? Ooh, Buster. Oh, those are the cutest Buster emotes. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I think I might need to. I guess it's fine for stream. I'm going to continue cooking on the dark. I'm going to be stubborn and try to use ambient daylight as much as possible before I have to turn on the lights outside because, Yeah, you're so following. Yeah, 100% follow Quicksilver. Andrew Cooks is yeah. Andrew is fantastic, and they're super chill. The recipe was to oven bake, but you deep fried instead. That sounds about right. Yeah, didn't you guys go through a deep frying phase at some point in time? I feel like it was you always saw. I don't think I was there when you guys did it, but I know you guys said that you had a deep frying phase where you just fried everything. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm making today is tangzong cookies. So these are if you look up the recipe, you'll see from the reviews it's very divisive. It had 3.5 stars, and it's because half the people hated it, other people loved it. And so, anyways, it's a chocolate chip cookies that uses a bread making technique, which is milk bread, and it makes really soft bread that doesn't stale, like it makes it keep longer. So it keeps it for a few days more to almost like a week more. Like, so you can like have table bread that is shelf stable for quite a while. And what it is that you kind of create this water roux, which kind of, I just made the tangzong here, but you let it like turn into like a gelatinized, like you cook it like almost like you're making like, yeah, a roux. And then you mix that into your dough. And what that does is it allows your bread to absorb more water than it normally does. And like, I guess there's like amylization or something like, I'm not completely sure about the chemistry behind it, but basically what it does is it creates like a very soft, supple bread. That, that's most, like, Taiwanese milk bread or Japanese Hokkaido milk bread. And I guess this recipe makes use of that technique in cookies, which to me doesn't make sense because you just don't have that much flour. So what? Because like cookies are mostly sugar and butter. And so I'm very curious about how this recipe works. So I'm going to give it a shot. So Lord Tox, if anyone's familiar with Lord Tox, I did give him a shout out earlier. He made this recipe about a month ago. He got the idea from Saren, who's another great streamer. And I know she's lurking because I saw that she was lurking. So I'm going to actually shout out Saren. Make sure. Well, she was. I guess maybe not anymore. But anyways, I'm gonna shout her out real quick. But she brought up this idea of using. She tries to add tangzong into a lot of recipes. I guess when she's doing professional bakes because it's more shelf stable. And she was curious about these cookies. And then Lord Tox. These are all food streamers. Oops. And then Lord Tox made it a couple weeks ago. And he said it was pretty good. Like, it definitely lasted longer, which piqued my interest. So I'm going to be taking these on a camping trip, so we'll see if they last throughout the whole camping trip, assuming not everyone eats them. I'm going to save one just for an experiment, just to see what happens. And anyways, the point is that what was I saying? The point is if this works, this might be the most ideal care package cookie because then you can send it to the mail wherever in the world. I mean, as long as it doesn't take like 2 months, but at least like, if you could send it to somewhere that's reasonable, like it'll still be a fresh cookie when it gets to them. So I'm very curious about this cookie recipe. It's basically the bottom line what I'm trying to do. Yeah, you go through that phase every year or two. Yeah, interesting. You haven't seen that used their cookies before. Yeah, either have I, which is what makes it really interesting. And so, again, this recipe is either like, these are the worst cookies ever, or these are the best cookies ever. So we'll see. So this is kind of an experimental zone. But also not, because I'm trusting this recipe. So. And also, I should also mention that, like, King Arthur Bakery, or King Arthur in general, their website, they made it their recipe of the year for 2024. So that's a lot of confidence in this recipe. Yeah. Okay. Add the eggs and continue whisking until smooth. Okay. So eggs. Okay. So it's gotten down to room temperature. That's important because I didn't want to scramble these eggs. I always ask this question all the time, but chat. Do you crack your eggs on the edge of the bowl, the side of your table, or flat on the surface? You can all see what I do. And why. I'm also not skilled enough to crack eggs with one hand. Okay, add eggs and vanilla until it's smooth. Okay, and then what's... Exactly, Quicksilver. You are correct. That is the exact reason why I do flat surface. Is because other ones can create tiny fragments, which can risk getting stuff into your food. And that's why I'm a very big proponent of flat surface cracks. Yeah, flat surface cracks. That actually is the correct answer. My mom taught me the side of the bowl, and then I later learned when I started cooking for myself in like college to do table cracks. I think I learned that from either Alton Brown or like the Food Network at some point in time. And I've done flat table cracks since then. Okay. Okay, so this is the flour. So at this point, I'm going to do my own little touches to this recipe, which is espresso powder. Instant espresso powder. Guess I'm ending at the bottom of this now. And I do this because I think it just adds a nice depth of flavor to the recipe. Wait, where did the... Oh, and then vanilla. I missed the vanilla. Okay. How much vanilla was it? Tablespoon of vanilla. Okay. Well, that's all that's left of this one. Great. Oh, I have a good place to put this. It'll go in here for now. Okay. Definitely getting more and more contrasty in here. You know what I'm going to do? Since I have this light here and I was showing it off earlier, I refuse to use the house overlights because it sucks and it makes everything ugly. So I am going to do something. We'll see if this works. I'm going to add some fill light. But since I don't really have a stand, I'm just going to make this work. This is one of the few times where I kind of wish I had the extension. It's kind of rare. So for those who have been here since the beginning of stream, I was showing off this giant square light panel thing called a sky panel that I own. That happens to be in my house because I was using it for work and self-studying. And now I'm going to use it to light my stream since it happens to be right here. But I'm doing it in the most crudest, laziest way possible, which is I'm just setting it up on a chair since I don't have the proper stand to actually use it correctly. And then I'm going to, there we go. It's funny that I was struggling so much to plug that power con in. I do in the dark all the time at work. Okay, bear with me for a moment while I get this light plugged in. And hopefully by just bouncing it into the wall here, actually don't need the stove anymore. That'll give me enough light exposure. Actually, yeah, should be like this. That'll give me enough light exposure to that's probably two. That's good. Probably needs to be a little more blue. That actually kind of works. It's kind of comical that it works. Let's make it. Okay. Oh boy. Cool. That is a very lazy low tech. So I literally just have it on a chair hitting my wall and it's just bouncing back into me. That's a very lazy low tech way to get exposure. It is underlighting me. There is actually this very shiny die hard thing, which actually I could probably remedy it here. See, now I'm putting more effort than I need to. And this is what you would call the rabbit hole of lighting, where you can, what we call tweaking, where like once you start lighting, you can spend hours just tweaking the lights till kingdom come, so that it works. But this sheen is bothering me, or this reflection is bothering me, because then it's creating this kind of garish looking underlight. So instead, I'm just going to get rid of it by doing this. So I'm just putting something over this die hard poster so that, there we go. And now it's softer and less, yeah, there we go. Now it's still coming from underneath, but it's not as like ridiculous. Okay, anyways, that'll do. I might still have to turn on the overheads, but I'm going to see what I can get away with. Hey, Mike. How are you doing, Mike? Yeah, I'm just. It started getting dark, and then I grabbed my very overpriced film light that I happen to have just sitting right here, and I dropped it here, and now it's bouncing into this wall, and then lighting me because I refuse to use my overheads because they're ugly. Even though I did put diffusion on them, and I put like warming gels on them so they don't seem so ugly. But yeah, I did that. Hope you're doing well, Mike. Yes, and also in the meantime, I was making. Okay, that is a giant chunk of espresso powder that I don't think it's going to dissolve. So that's just going to fuck off. Okay. Actually, I am going to do something to make adjustments to this so that it spreads a little better. Which is Excuse me while I make a couple slight adjustments. Okay. There we go. That should be better. Okay. Almost. Oh, you just got back home? Welcome home, Mike. Okay. I think that's better. So one thing I did was... Oh, you can see my laptop's a little shiny. So one thing I did is I kind of evened it out by aiming it up at the ceiling, which I know kind of creates some flatness over here on the left. But there's still some shape. And so it's just kind of lighting this part of my ceiling now, which will be nice because that will give me enough exposure. And does even it out a little better so that it seems... I mean, it's definitely flat, but it's better than these. Here, I can show you the alternative. The alternative is this, which is gross. I guess you guys can't really tell because that thing's so bright. But anyways, they're gross. That's all you need to know. And it bothers me every time I have to turn them on. Okay, so I've mixed. The one downside is now I've put an incredibly bright light exactly where my laptop, so my eye line is. So if I'm looking at this, the brightest thing is the laptop, or is the light. So I have to do this to read my laptop now. Okay, so 2 cold eggs from the fridge. Okay, and then weigh or measure the remaining 2.5 cups plus 1 teaspoon, so 307 grams of bread flour by gently spooning and then sweeping off any excess. Add the bread flour to the bowl. Then add baking powder and baking soda. I'm actually going to do the opposite. I'm going to add the baking powder and baking soda now so that it ends up incorporating better. So how much baking powder, baking soda do I need? Baking powder is here. And I know this out of memory. Sorry if you guys, it's unlabeled, I know. It's poor form. But I do know that it's baking powder. I don't know how much baking soda I have left. Definitely need more baking soda next time I go to the store. Holy shit, I am out of baking soda. Okay. Desperate times means desperate measures. All right. How much baking soda do I need? Okay, so baking soda wise, I need a 1/4 teaspoon. Thank God it's only a 1/4 teaspoon. Because I'm almost out. I'm using the stuff that has fallen out of the box. Because I'm almost out of baking soda. Okay. So baking soda. Okay. Note this up. When I go to the grocery store tomorrow, get baking soda. Okay, baking soda. And then 1 3/4 tablespoons of baking powder. So the tablespoon has something, vanilla in it. So we'll just do 7 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's actually a lot of leavening